Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Judge Casaby, I'm looking at an order you issued as a magistrate judge here requiring the use of pronouns in your court. Do you require the use of pronouns, the declaration of one's pronouns in your court?
Senator, that may be referring to perhaps a trial management order or a scheduling order of some kind?
Yeah. No, it's a statement. You issued it. Here it is.
It's an invitation for people to identify their pronouns and or their honorifics.
Well, I'm looking at your requirement that you issued to all people in your court. You say, quote, when you introduce yourself in a meeting, you should say, my name is Judge Blank and my pronouns are blank. Is that right?
Senator, those were not requirements or rules. Those were suggestions and
They were suggestions.
those were suggestions and invitations for people to use.
And you also, in your directive, you say, quote, I'd like counsel to introduce themselves giving your full name and your honorific, such as Ms., MS period, Mix, or Mr., not Mrs. And if your client will be making an appearance, I ask you to please introduce them to the court by giving me their full name and their honorific, such as Ms., MS period, Mix, or Mr. End quote. Is that right?
Senator, it's not a directive. Again, it's an invitation for people to introduce themselves.
Invitation.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm looking at an article from the Oregon State Bar Bulletin from May of 2021. And I want to read one of your quotes. Quote, we have to set aside conventional ideas of proof. Let me say that again. We have to set aside conventional ideas of proof, you said, when we are dealing with the personal and interpersonal work of equity, division, and inclusion. As a judge, I can appreciate the challenge of employing a different mode for understanding truth than that which most lawyers are accustomed to in our work, end quote. Did you write that?
That is a quote from that article.
So when we're dealing with equity, diversity, and inclusion, we should set aside conventional ideas of proof. Is that right?
In the larger context of interpersonal and personal relationships, the idea of being able to have a conversation with somebody.
Yeah, but you didn't talk about a conversation. You said proof.
It's in the context of having a conversation with somebody about the issue of their background and their experience.
So when the issue is equity, diversity, or inclusion, we should have a different set of proof. Is that right?
When it comes to the space in which people have interpersonal relationships with one another, the idea of respecting and dignifying each other with their experiences is an important part of...
So all issues have one set of proof, which has been handed down by our state Supreme Courts, our U.S. Supreme Court, except you think we ought to have a different set of proof when equity, diversity, and inclusion are at issue. Is that right?
In all of my years on the bench, Senator, I had...
On Capitol Hill, a heated exchange unfolded between Senator Kennedy and Judge Casaby during a tense confirmation hearing. The senator pressed the nominee over her past statements, judicial practices, and views on equity, diversity, and inclusion. What began as questions about courtroom procedure quickly escalated into a broader debate over bias, fairness, and the role of a judge in modern America. The questioning began with a focus on Judge Casaby's trial management order, in which she invited participants to state their pronouns and honorifics when introducing themselves in court. While Kennedy referred to it as a requirement, the judge pushed back, clarifying that it was never mandatory, only a suggestion to foster respect and inclusion. The senator read directly from her directive, listing honorifics such as, quote, Mrs. quote, Miss, Mix, or, quote, Mr. quote, questioning whether this practice reflected judicial overreach. Kennedy then cited a 2021 Oregon State Bar article in which the judge reportedly said, We have to set aside conventional ideas of proof when dealing with the personal and interpersonal work of equity, diversity, and inclusion. The senator pressed her, did she mean that cases involving these issues should have a different legal standard? Kasabai insisted her comments referred to conversations about personal experiences, not legal evidence in court, and emphasized that in every case she has presided over, she has applied the law, the rules of evidence, and precedent. Kennedy turned to past speeches, quoting statements where the judge compared privilege to narcissistic personality disorder, called for normalizing Muslim identity, criticized the Founding Fathers for perpetuating inequity, and emphatically declared, "Does race matter? Hell yes." She acknowledged making these statements, explaining that they were intended to highlight the importance of acknowledging identity and systemic inequities rather than ignoring them. The senator's tone sharpened as he accused the nominee of being obsessed with race and sexuality, and of suggesting a
Senator, I have applied the law, the rules of evidence, the case precedent.
Let me move on. I'm looking at the notes you gave us from a speech you made in February 7, 2020. It's entitled Speech Reflections on Equity and Privilege to the Oregon Blacks in Government. You wrote, quote, "White, male, straight people allow privilege to remain in place," close quote. Did you say that? Did you write that?
Without looking at the specific
Here it
speech
is. You
here.
turned it in.
Well, if that's on the piece of paper, Senator, then I have no reason to disagree.
You also wrote, quote, "Privilege is incredibly similar to narcissistic personality disorder," close quote. Did you write that?
Without looking at everything in the context of that statement, it appears correct.
Okay. You wrote, quote, "The identity of Muslims also need to be normalized in a country that is so deeply Islamophobic." Did you write that?
Senator, I did. And what I'd also like to clarify is that in the context of my work on the bench, I have treated everybody equally without regard to their
I'm
background.
sorry, I just want to get through this. I'm going to run out of time. You also wrote, quote, "I am disappointed about the way in which the Founding Fathers of this country perpetuated inequity," close quote. Did you write that?
In the context of the issue of slavery, that was something that I'd been considering.
In your notes you gave us from a speech on May 17th, 2023, "Does race matter?" You said, quote, "Does race matter? Hell yes," close quote. You know that T-shirt at the Saturday markets, the one that says something like "Love, see no color," and it has all the colors of the rainbow all over it, and it's like a tie-dye shirt? Well, the first time I saw it,
a heated and deeply personal exchange. This confrontation highlighted the sharp divide over the role of diversity and inclusion in America's courts. For some, Judge Kasabai's past words raise concerns about impartiality. For others, they reflect a commitment to understanding and respecting every individual in the judicial process. With her nomination hanging in the balance, the question remains, how will the Senate ultimately judge the judge? If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, comment, and hit the subscriber button for more political showdown.